What is it like to be told you may die before the age of 25? I think most would feel fear, intense anxiety, perhaps even panic. 4 years ago, aged 17, I weighed almost 300 pounds. My waistline was 53 inches. And diagnosed with prediabetes, I was told that if I didn't lose weight soon, well, I wouldn't have long at all. By that point, every week of my life would go the same way. Every week I decided that this was the week I would change. For the first 3 days, it would start with huge motivation. On Thursday, maybe mum makes a cake. The last 3 days have been so great, maybe I can indulge. Inevitably, Friday comes, and the weekend's almost here. A bad night turns into a bad day, turns into a bad weekend. I may have failed this week, but next week I'm back, and so on. The reality was I was hurting myself, not only physically, but emotionally too, forever thinking that I was making progress, when in fact, what I was actually doing was implementing a new set of rules into my old lifestyle, which of course isn't sustainable. I was trapped, and back in that doctor's room, suddenly faced with the prospect of early death. Well, I now felt something completely different. I didn't feel fear or panic. It was as if I was driving along and had suddenly arrived at a fork in the road, and the fog had finally lifted. I felt clarity, knowing that simply one option was not available anymore. It was a sense of direction, to redesign the way I lived my life. And after losing over 100 pounds and keeping it off for 4 years, I'd like to share this story and how it has affected my mindset. Obesity is argued to be a chronic disease and is justified where it has been proven to be problematic for the body. But one of the great powers of problem is that it enables opportunity for change. So there I was, trapped in 300 pounds, but challenged to reconsider my condition as a product of opportunity. I call this concept problem power. Back in school, I studied chemistry, the study of matter and the changes it undergoes. There was a specific concept called activation energy, which means the energy that must be provided to compounds to result in a chemical reaction. Problem power behaves in a similar way for us. By inverting the traditional view of problems as a limiting factor, rather looking through its optimistic lens, we can learn to view problems in their capacity to empower us with the activation energy we need to react and change for good. So, I now had my problem power, this activation energy. But what was my reaction? What was I trying to achieve? To just be healthier, I wasn't going to just lose weight, but I was going to keep it off for the rest of my life. Surely that's what we want in any weight loss. Let's say I live to 100. For maybe 8 out of my 972 months remaining, plus or minus, I would be losing weight. But for the other 964 months, surely I'd want to keep this weight in a healthy range. 964 months. With this vision in mind, I decided this time my goal was not to lose weight. I had to realise that these roads I could take, they were not lose weight or gain weight, but rather paths of a growth-centric or comfort-centric lifestyle. This fork in the road I've observed, I call the disruption fork. This is a fork we come to when our minds are disrupted. From huge scales such as a global pandemic, right down to the smallest scales, like deciding to wake up early to study. By continually revisiting disruption forks, I was able to build increasing amounts of motivation over time, as opposed to depleting motivation over time by fixating on a static goal, such as losing a specific amount of weight. Normally, most of us have our goals refined to a T. When we begin to chase an intangible concept, wealth, health, or happiness, making a tangible goal is often the first step. When we set out to lose weight, we don't just mean 20 pounds. We want a smaller waistline, a healthier heart, faster 5k runs, maybe even more likes on Instagram. We want the pounds gone, but we then expect specific byproducts that arise from sticking to this energy deficit, all the tangible benefits of this process. But it's not just weight loss. Any personal change we make, we seek byproducts. We wake up earlier to study and be more productive. We drink less to have more energy. The mistake that arises from this hard goal setting is that we attach all of our motivation to achieving them. What happens after weight loss? For most, healthy habits are lost. Perhaps this may help explain why 97% regain weight after weight loss. By switching our focus from achieving specific goals to creating positive long-term habits, we can make continuous improvement a way of life. While goals rely on extrinsic motivation, habits are autonomous. They are algorithms operating in the background that power our lives. Now, because this mindset doesn't limit itself to specific outcomes, it can be very powerful. And what I found was that I wanted to catalyse other reactions in my life. Problem power is contagious. When I was 14, I joined the Army Cadets at school. In the UK, we have over 100,000 teenagers who enrol in cadet programmes, and as part of our training, we learn marksmanship principles. That's learning how to safely handle a firearm and take a well-aimed shot at a paper target. Target shooting became a big interest of mine. But just because I enjoyed it, it doesn't mean I was particularly talented. In fact, we were able to lie on the floor whilst shooting, which was perfect for my then comfort-centric lifestyle. Every year, I was encouraged to compete in a week-long competition held by the National Rifle Association. During this competition, we shoot at distances of up to 1,000 yards. That's over half a mile away. To take a well-aimed shot, you have to stay relaxed in your position. You have to align the rear sight with the foresight. But most importantly, you have to squeeze the trigger ever so gradually so as not to disturb the movement of the rifle as the shot is released. Here are all my performances that date back to 2014. Now, with similar results in the first few years, comfort is clear up until 2017. But I believe it was from my problem power in weight loss that I found my performance in target shooting started to improve too. So my problem was weight, I built habits, my brain got stronger, and I started to improve holistically, including in shooting. Of course, one always expects to improve with experience, but it was the rate of improvement that drastically increased. Through hard habits, soft goals, my mind wasn't just limited to weight loss. This mindset was really taking over my brain. What did this reaction actually entail? Well, in 2017, I was rejected from a junior Great Britain team that travelled to Canada. I also had the worst aggregate score in another recent team I travelled with. So whilst I may not have been achieving the required scores, now armed with problem power, I began flicking through hundreds of photos of shooters, analysing where they placed certain attachments on the rifle. I could tell you each specific piece of kit every member of the Great Britain rifle team uses. I studied how it influenced their performance in certain years. Are there trends in their position setup that I should try? I had to remember that I was now acquiring endless amounts of working knowledge beneath the surface, which I believed at the time was infinitely more valuable for understanding why we can keep hitting the middle, not just how to do it. During lockdown last year, I took over 5,000 practice dry shots and ran over 1,000 kilometres to improve my fitness. In certain conditions, shooting in the 40-degree heat whilst wearing a heavy leather jacket to support your shooting position will inevitably increase heart rate. my training thus becomes a risk management strategy. With more training and more running, improved technique, I can decrease the chance of not hitting a bullseye. Reflecting on my position today, I genuinely believe this growth wouldn't have been possible without recognising the power of my problems. Recognising an opportunity within what most would deem an aspect that limits potential. This year, I'm honoured to have been selected to represent the Great Britain Rifle Team. Shooting at the 2021 US Nationals is just something I never would have dreamed of just 4 years ago. In conclusion, I believe the way we view our problems is a problem. Sticking to hard habits, you're then not limited to an outcome. You can be infinitely minded and the results will really surprise you. But when you design your life around hard goals and endpoints, you place restrictions. With my method of problem power, recognising the capability of your problems to change you, and through establishing daily life habits, you can in turn establish sustainability. Whatever excellence you then come to possess, remember that it was this excellence that you once thought limiting. Let problem power prevail today and watch it change your life. Thank you.